Alrighty then, welcome everyone to Dynasty the podcast show. I am your host, Ira Thomas, Mr. Fourth. I just want to say, man, everything is everything. We are working out. We are full effect. We in Washington D.C. right now. I'm not saying this is the funnest part of my life. This is the most serious part of my life. I just want to say thank you, everyone. Again, I'm Ira Thomas, was the fourth. This is Dynasty Podcast Show. If I didn't say it, I probably said it, but I have to remind everybody. I don't want people to try to. There's so many imitators out here. A lot of this stuff started with, quick story. This stuff started off with me being what I'll say, formulating a plan to be successful. I would say 7 years old, and it was mostly with me and my relatives, and a few real loyal friends that I know are very serious people in this world. Whether how distant, how situations cause people to be separate, and families is not is how that goes. So the biggest thing is it grew from that. I started getting on the playground 7, 8 years old. It got even more. You know, it's like I said, the stuff that I learned, I apply all the time. And this is a form. This is a form of me just being able to speak to the masses. And one thing I don't mind is like the notoriety. Like right now, it says nobody's really watching my show, but the message is getting out to the masses, which is the biggest thing. What I don't like is people think I don't monetarily need to be compens- compensated, and have not. So many. I talk about it all the time. So many people have. I'm talking about agreements. Like the first thing I ever did was, when I broke free. When I elevated to prep football, these people want to finesse me and use my abilities and not pay me directly or not pay me. They wanted me to I don't know what point they wanted me to prove. I did what I look. The how I show people is I don't waste my time. You know what I'm saying? I make sure the table set. You got every napkin, every plate, every fork, every spoon, everything cup on the table filled. And I let y'all do y'all thing. I let y'all crash out. At the end, y'all still 9 times out of 10, some of y'all probably still successful. Some of y'all got y'all things still running up in operations. But trying to go against me to keep me at a um monetarily minimum a week or not a lot. It's only going to damper you in the long term. You have a whole family you have to provide for, and you want to you want to continue to gain your wealth and riches. Why would you have to? It shouldn't be a reason why you didn't pay me up front. And it was after I proved after did my job. I'm a team player. You get what I'm saying? I won't. I always one of my biggest things I tell the people I coach is I won't make you do something I won't do. You know what I'm saying? Or someone close to me. I won't get that advice unless I won't. I won't. I'm not willing to do that. So that's what that's why I stand on that for sure. Now that being said, today is not going to be one of those days. I'm not going to be even. It's going to be. I'm chilling right now. Yo, yesterday, this is not a standardized show. Today I was supposed to go to a hearing. They canceled the hearing or they moved it up, and I didn't get to go to it. I went to the expo on Wednesday for the business meeting. Yesterday I did, I did laundry and just a few errands I had to do. And and I also went to the Washington versus Chicago Bulls basketball game, which is exciting because I like, basketball is one of my, a love that I like to enjoy and watch. I'm not the greatest basketball player, but I do know the game. As a coach, I've put my work in and just knowing the basics, just knowing the games, the rules and regulations. Tomorrow I'm going to go 9 o'clock in the morning like I did yesterday, last Saturday, and go hoop. I'm trying to get back active like that. So hopefully these weirdos, they ready to jump down and right there in my spirit and try to keep me still and low. But I feel great overall if it was just me, trying to operate. I know people are very jealous and very envious, so we gotta might be mindful of those types of people and these imaginary people. That's why I call them imaginary, because I know the difference between having like eating too much or this and that. It's like people really out here trying to operate in a position of stealing high level money from the pot, my family pot, and I could talk about it in more detail, but everything gonna get worked out. I'm gonna get some real. I'm gonna get some people on these people heads, and gonna start manipulating. It might be too much for me to, it might be too much for me to hate on, stop everything, but I want the biggest and the worst to be, cut that snake off real fast. We're trying to get to that point where we're doing that. I'm speaking on it because I'm not coming here to try to ruin nobody's life. What I'm trying to tell people without going to the law enforcement or these are the same people that attacked me already. Why I look like trying to side with them for it? Or trying to haze me or trying to make me feel lower than I am. These are people already done this since I was a child. They started right out the gate when I was 7, 8 years old. You know, at the school, I got in trouble for talking too loud. Went straight to the Jack Center. These are stuff that they've been doing since I was a child. And literally, all I had was supposed to do was get sent to the principal office and a phone call from them. They went the extra mile. So these people are very weak to me, and I talk about it all the time. You hide behind a badge. I speak on these things all the time. It's not intimidating to me at all. So you know, we speak on it now. What I will say today, what I got planned today, I'm doing my show, which is pretty cool. Um, there is a lot of hearings that are scheduled next week. So I'm hyped about that. I'll get back to writing and getting real high level information. They've the stuff that they report on these major news outlets. I have not been paying attention to. I started to clip y'all up and get some information from them, but I walk past these buildings every day. They act like everything's okay. We're gonna continue to let them crash and act like they ain't in a position of being in the notoriety. You know what I'm saying? And knowing different reporters in different countries, and they want to sit there and be under these people who have showed their whole hand of this destruction and demonic behavior over and over. They sacrifice women and children, specifically. You know, when the older you get as a white female, the less you will become. I would say you're not even. They want to take advantage of y'all when y'all younger, and they want to discard y'all when the older y'all get, and then y'all know how they look at our women. They want to use them against us and mentally manipulate them, and to go against us, they want to use the systematic rules. The how it go. The resources go to them. The very crumb resources go to them. Then they want us to fight and go to prison over it. It's the stuff that I've been talking about. Stuff should get corrected over these years of them being exposed. The United Nations has literally put something in the air with the last 2 or 3 weeks that people should be continually talking about. This should be known in all 50 states, all over the United States, especially if you are somebody of descent of African or whatever you want to. Spanish people have gotten treated horribly as well. It's tested on test subjects, all kind of stuff. So it goes hand in hand. I know I'm not going to put that over what Africa has done, but you know, I know what my family has been through. But we're not going to act like this is the imaginary. But one thing I would say, I think I reported on it already, is that I got my badge. So I'm hyped about that, and I'm ready to get back to teaching young men how to play sports. And I can't give out too much. I'm not, I only could be a father figure for them 3 or 4 hours that I'm on that field. and I got to take care of business on my home front, and still the city that my child lives in. She still lives there where they disrespected her at an elementary school too, going on 3 years now, and I didn't forget they allow these people to run around and try to test subject my child like she's not her parents don't pay their taxes and provide her way. And the same thing for my nephew. He had to switch schools for the same reason, and I could tell just how their energy was manipulated. And same with my niece, both of them. How their energy is manipulated, how they think that because we are high powered beings, that they have some kind of right passage to do what they want. But if you read these constitutional rules, they were supposed to mind their business, and they were supposed to give us 40 acres. That's not a little bit of on land. They did not do that. They wanted to still make up 30 million taxes and rules, which they're still continuing trying to do. And I gotta keep repeating this because this generation, my great grandfather's generation, is where they really went to stealing and making up a whole bunch of rules to make us without. And we still ended up coming out okay because we served the country the following generation. And I'm trying to tell you, they don't want to abide by these rules that they made up and they manipulated. And we did what we were supposed to do, and we still continue to do that. I still know that I'm very active in the community. I still know that me and my sister done several events where we fed the whole neighborhood. So we didn't fail those tests at all. We're still under 40 years old. We're under 35. I'm 34. So my sister's 4 year under me. My older sister is 1 year. We not. It's nothing that have we haven't done. It's nothing that we haven't done. To help. So I don't want to feel like I'm bragging or boasting or anything. Like I want to let people know that it comes a time where it's time to gain more for what you've been doing, and it's all about experience and being experienced, and that's what I have, and that's what I'm bringing to the table. That's why the prices is way higher than what it was when I was 18. No matter what it monetarily gains that it is, it's resources or money or whatever it may see. I haven't even this when I went to the expo. I think tomorrow. It might not be tomorrow. I might have an event I need to pop up in. It's not expensive to go to these events, and this is one of my biggest things. It's like I'm finna figure out that time. It might be. I'm pretty sure what today's the 10th. I think Monday and Tuesday will be perfect days for me to re do my business plan and organize those cars that I got and send out emails and work on those things. And then I still got to get back to going to these hearings and doing my podcast in a productive and professional way in a manner where people feel like they need to listen, and yeah. So I look at it that way. I know today was not going to be a long show. Um, what else I need to speak on? Hmm, I don't think I missed anything. Oh, entertainment. Yeah. So I told y'all about the game. The Washington Wizards ended up losing to the Bulls, but those teams are not in the playoffs. Coming down the stretch is like 2 more days of regular season basketball. The NFL draft is in 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks. It'll be on a Friday. They kick it off Thursday or Friday. So for 2 weeks, 13 days, 14 days from now. And most definitely tune into that. I don't think I'm gonna break down too much on it. Um the way they do the rankings, these people from CBS to ESPN, these people have favoritism. So I try to go off they list and then just talk about it. But I'm not even gonna get into it. Hopefully the player that I know, I don't know what maybe, I think he graded very well and was very productive in college. And he did, to me, his best year was this year. He was on a lot of national football games. He was out in California. I think he did a great job, being one of the top. The cornerback for Indiana is pretty solid. His quickness is probably tad bit faster than him, but I don't think his awareness is as good. I think people know. I try not to mention names. I try not to mess up nobody flow. But I speak on this. I think he definitely top two DB. And if he played free safety, he would or strong safety. I don't think he want to play strong, but if he played free safety, he might be graded even higher with his height and his length. And I think he can do both because playing cornerback, you get 30-40 million dollars being the top player. And free safety, I think it's still, you got to be a roamer and a free, and be able to tackle in open field, and you got to have multiple jobs and assignments. And they pay the top players make 30 still. Just being a DB, being able to cover and tackle, it's more on you, a toll on your body. So, but he got the length and the frame for it. Definitely an NFL type player. So hopefully he get. I ain't really worried about everybody. I told y'all about how this is a business, so I'm definitely hyping him up. I want him to get picked in the top round if he decide to still play. I don't know. I didn't see him on ESPN or CBS. I seen that he did the he went to the combine. So I think he did well. His test scores. He's mid 4.44, which is great for his size. And I know he doesn't have ability. He has the ability to be a playmaker when the ball is in the air. He proved that this year. He had led. He was definitely top five in interceptions. So I'm rooting for him. I want him to be successful. So we gonna see what goes on. I'm not gonna mention too much because I know how the game go. I'm gonna put it in the air. Success for him. Rest of y'all, best of luck. And that's how it go when you have somebody like that since you know can do it, and it's like I said, Elite Youth Association, the original list when I was creating it, and then it didn't have nothing to do with them. It just had what call a mental, you know, mentality. I grew up being my favorite athlete was Kobe Bryant, and that when he did that Mamba mentality, that's just how that stuff grows. That's like a brand where you could branch off from, and you could be like, that's my favorite athlete, and that's what really is inspiration, or you can go into that mode and have your own separate lane. And I look at it like that. They could use me as the example of being motivated and have their own separate lane, which I'm pretty sure they do, and their own brand and whatnot. But they made that original list of success and specialist athletes and intellect as well. It was both. So, you got graded really high. So I think you passed. I think you probably gonna get your degree and everything and all that stuff like that. So, just keep going up with the success. And that's why I'm speaking on it. It ain't gonna be too much more. Like I said, the draft will be here. I'll speak on that. I might break down some of the top players and see who I like out of it. Like I did last year. I hit on almost everybody that I graded, but it ain't about no randoms this year. It's about the player that I graded as high level. And that's how I be standing on it. And that's pretty much it. One thing I can say, man, it's a lot of cornball tactics that white supremacists are doing to me right now, and they really lame. And they could use a black face to do it too. And like I said, they cornball, even more cornball, going with the flow of a white supremacist group or tactics. And I don't have time for that. And we're gonna speak on that. And don't let nobody, just because I'm speaking like this, I gotta tell y'all the truth, man. My mom, she didn't tell me a lot of times. She just told me enough once or twice about the world. It didn't have to be a lot. And I don't want my mom to get attacked or my grandmother to get attacked. They didn't speak nothing on it. They grew up in way worse times than what I did. Far as the people that was hey, it might be about the same because people that was hating on me were cowards. It was more blatantly disrespectful in my grandmother and mother time when they were younger at my age. I haven't got to their age because they're older than me. But if you understand what I'm trying to say is that like these people are grade A plus cowards, They do not stand on nothing that they be on. They do everything from way out the way. You know what I'm saying? They gotta go out their way to hate on me. And I speak on this stuff all the time, but just don't let that deter you, man. Cause don't let that stuff be like, oh, your coach is the reason why, or you somebody that you attached to is the reason why they hating on you. No, they hating on you because you successful. They hating on you. That's it. They can't put that doesn't even make sense. That don't even make sense. Like, that is what the basis of y'all not supposed to be in position. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not even supposed to be near success of this generation because your forefathers and ancestors have already crashed and burned and they did some most demonic, nasty tactics and disgusting things, and it's coming to light still. It still was being practiced in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, early 90s, and they tried to hide it and shield it, but it already done got exposed. And so many documentaries and go out the states and country they don't like y'all or not, and so on and so forth. We talk about it all the time. I try not to be against the country that could easily turn the tide because it's enough people from these different countries here to turn it into a great place. It's not. It's just what it is. Now you cannot come here expecting the people that are native to this land to be subjugated to everything that you want. You know the rules, and yeah, that's what the problem is in the beginning. Y'all bring all these people that, and I ain't got no problem with immigrants. I love, you don't even know the type of women. I love foreign women. They look, the I ain't got nothing against foreign women. That's one of my some of my coolest people I ever met have been from a their tongue is way different from English. And I'm attracted to that type of aroma. I ain't hating on that. Now, one thing I can say, don't, it might have been the fact that my family is actually Native and American, and but it ain't the fact that we ain't lost our own what we supposed to be as people. That's what the confusion was. They think we were just flat out. I tell y'all the funniest story about standing up for the Pledge of Allegiance when I was in elementary. I wasn't disrespecting. I realized it was disrespectful to my grandfathers because they fought for this country. But I was looking at it like, y'all know I just watched Roots and what the other movie was. It's one of my favorite movies. With damn. But I watched all that stuff when I was younger. They showed us in school. They talked about all that stuff, man. We learned about Thanksgiving, what it really was, and so on and so forth. But it's just like I just look at it like that was my real. It wasn't that I didn't respect the soldier side and the people fighting for the countryside. They try to throw that in your face, but it's one of those things, man. Got to keep it P about being in this land. But they don't keep it P at all. They gonna get them a foreign wife. They gonna go out here and do all this demonic stuff for they people over here. It ain't carrying up. It ain't calculating right. So we're gonna try to keep it level headed. We're gonna try to keep get the right people involved so we don't get messed up. Like I spoke on that. We ain't letting it go. Whoever's tried to say that we finna have a draft, ah, before, but you ain't gonna never see somebody. My nephew is 10. I got nieces and nephews that are in the age range from, I think one is very young. She just was born. She's like 3 or 4 now. From that range, and it might be somebody even younger. I'm talking about my immediate, my grandma, my mom's mom tree, and my dad's mom tree. Like it's still we still healthy and well, really, if you do the calculation. And I got a 21 year, going to be a 21-year old niece who's bright and very vibrant and very beautiful, and she can have a child whenever she feel like it now. So at her age, and she's that mature, and she's not selling her family out. She's not out here doing anything for anything. And I'm proud of her, man. She's in college as well. Hey, there's one right behind her that's about the same. They know what it is. It's probably friendly competition with them of success like we used to be, but it wasn't. It ain't. It's love. It's not jealousy, it ain't envy, it ain't none of that. I want both of them to do well. And like I said, anybody standing around them that's a op that call themselves being married to the family, everything was noted. Still. Yeah. So we continue. My people home, so we good. Um what else we gotta talk about today? I ain't really got nothing to say. Oh, I might go to the spring football game tomorrow. That's the other thing. The Washington Defenders and the Houston. I'm trying to get there. It's not expensive, but it all depends on how my evening is. Because I've been on a little winning streak. And I've been having a couple extra dollars to go chill. Like $20 basketball NBA basketball game. You can't beat that. And the same with the spring games, $25, but it all depends on the day. What the day brings me. I try my best not to put that. $5, $10 could turn me into $40, and I'd be happy about that. I ain't no sucker. Just put it like that when it comes to really like being in a monetarily, because I want to enjoy my life. I'm not an old head, an old man. I could easily sit somewhere and buy. I do it all the time. Buy the $4, $5 soft drink and watch the games and leave there 11, 12 o'clock. So tomorrow the game start at 12, so that's the middle of the day. I could still come do my elite State of the Union. I do want it to be a little bit more. I'm undecided on the topic because the last few were very powerful. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to just make it about anything. I might do it about. I don't know. It's gonna be have to be some kind of history of. I don't know. It might. I might need to put a little bit more thought in it, but we definitely having the State of the Union. And it's gonna be big tomorrow. We're gonna try to make it worth your while to pay attention and watch it. And yeah, but that's it for today. I'm not going. It's up. It's up, and and we gotta go full throttle with it. And it's like I'm not looking at this as a I'm not taking it for granted for the position I'm having or will have in life and what I'm working on. So, it's still a lot. It's a lot going on. It's a lot that I have to do. And it's like when you see like it's like this much that you gotta work on. I wish I had more people that be here to like help me organize and but it's okay. I'm not that type of person to give up. So yeah, that's it. I see y'all tomorrow. We are doing the Elite State of the Union. Y'all know it's real out here, and we got to get to it. So I see y'all tomorrow. That's the end of my show today. See y'all.